Turn a little bit further. We're actually in the next Masechta. We're on Chav Vav Amud Beis. We're starting on the top of the page. Beis of Tinas to Beis of Nitzis. We should have just one page of the Beis of Migdash. So we could look at this.
We're in Kinam now?
Okay, have one hand on your chart.
Oh, Dr. Stein is here. The doctor in the house. Wow. Doctor.
Yitz is coming in. He taught the Gemaras with us.
Find your chart in the back of the Gemara so you could flip back and forth.
Doctor,
I should have a separate one.
I'm very inspired. The two kids come before me. I'm very inspired.
You're fantastic.
So if you have a chart, if you have a chart that looks like this, so we said that the three places that the Kayanim would watch was the Beis HaMaiked, Beis Artinus, which we said was over here, and the Beis HaNitzitz, which was over here. Yeah, you see it over there? So the Beis HaMaiked, this is the Beis Artinus, and that's the Beis HaNitzitz. Now, the Mefarish, which is the commentary that appears to be Rashi on the side over here, which is not Rashi, he learned that there's a special halacha, that a special din that the Kayanim need to be able to sit down, or they need to be able to sit while they're watching. We don't want them to be able to have to stand the whole time. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the base of the Kayanim on the base of Tinas, base of Nitzitz, which both have upper areas in Aliyah Leinas Gadshu. The second floors of the temple didn't have the sanctity of the ground floor. And then what he did was he said that when we learned Beis HaMaiked Kippah, that the Beis HaMaiked has this dome, which we learned always means a dome. The Mefarish, what he did is he said it's built on a dome. It's built on something on the ground that elevated it, and therefore the Kayanim that were there, the Kayain that was there, was able to sit down while he was watching. You always imagine the guard was there, like in front of the Buckingham Palace, but it could be that he had a chair and he was sitting. It doesn't have to be the same image. So we start off with Abtinus Beis HaNitzitz. It's on top of the page here. Chavav, yeah? They asked the question, Aliyas Ma'ameshavi, does it mean that was actually an upper floor? Dilma, or maybe it was just as high as Aliyas. The way the Mefarish explains the question is, was there any usage for the lower floor, or was it just built on stilts?
What number is this?
Shikayach. This really works.
What is that? Caffeine. Yeah. More than Coca-Cola?
You hear the question? Was there a bottom floor, or was it just the top floor? Was there a bottom floor and the top floor, or was it just the top floor? How's it possible? We went further yesterday.
Where'd you go to?
We're on Chav Vav Amud Beis.
Here said that there was houses underneath for other...
Was there a use for anything else?
Yes.
Or was it just that it was built on an upper floor, but there was nothing underneath it?
No, there was, it's here, yes, it was used for apartment kind of.
So what's the Gemara's question?
Question is like this. If it was underneath something to be able to use, or was empty underneath? That's what what I understand, I want to know. Do they have a use for the bottom?
We agree.
Oh, good. Okay. Give
So wait, what's
give the rabbi one.
We didn't get the answer. We didn't get the answer yet.
Everybody knows.
We didn't get the answer yet.
I know Aaron.
Tashema.
You know Aaron too. That's good.
Tashema, listen to the answer.
Give him
The Tanan. Start in the Mishnah. And the Mishnah says, Shabbatzofen is Shara Nitzitz in the north. In our picture, that was the north. Remember? This is the north. The north side. This is the way we're sitting right here is perfect, because at least on my side, when we open the book, so that's north, that's west, In my book, not in your book. Your book is it's the opposite.
Unless
But
it was here.
from here, we're lucky.
Oh, no,
Face
no,
the
no.
west.
That's west. That way's
Yeah,
east,
this is
which
another one.
actually
This
is,
one might be
and that's south. So it says that on the north, we're talking about on the north side here. There was Shara Nitzitz. We called it the Vesa Nitzitz. Here it's called the Shara Nitzitz. In Kimin Achsadra Haya. It was an Achsadra. What's an Achsadra? My teacher in 4th grade told me that it's a portico. And I actually see Rashi in Sukkah translates portico. Must be a Greek word or a French word or something.
Which means?
That it's a
Carport.
something like that. It's opened either on at least on one side, possibly even on 3 sides. It's just like an overhang that has maybe supports, but it's open. There's no walls. It's missing walls.
This portico in Rome.
Oh, is that you? Is that portico? Is that actually portico? So it's an open
Like a porch.
an open area.
Open, it's like a porch.
V'aliyah b'nui al gaba, and there was a upper floor in it. Sha'kainim shemrim mamayla v'alviyim milmata. That the kainim were above and the leviyim were below. Upesach hayal lachol, and there was a doorway to the chol. It probably was supposed to say lachel. That the chel is the. You notice this area here around the base of Mikdash. There's like this design that has. This is supposed to be like a lattice. Right? So you see this design? In between the wall and the design is called the chel.
Rabbi, why the Kohanim have to watch the Bet HaMikdash?
Tell me?
Why the Kohanim have to be watched the Bet HaMikdash?
You weren't here yesterday.
Yeah.
Come back yesterday, we'll tell you.
Yeah, we'll tell you next
Okay.
year, same time.
The Gemara is answering, according to the commentaries here, is that there was actually nothing used for it on the bottom, because how can you use it if there's no walls? It didn't really have any usage. It was just an open area. It was a portico.
It was used to
So our question was it just an upper floor with nothing under it? And we answer yes. It was just an upper floor with nothing under it. And the commentaries ask on this, what is the point of our question? Why do we need to know this? What is the issue here? Is there a usage for the lower floor that we're not talking about?
Time is much better.
It's like a funny question. Like there's no relevance to this.
Well, we're describing every part of the Beis Hamikdash and every part's reason and what's done to there.
Right.
Why would you go and make an empty area?
Okay, so the
Well,
Mefarish
to
would
me, the
explain
question-
this. The Mefarish would explain this.
Can you imagine picking a grapefruit off the tree? The top half is full of grapefruit and the bottom half is an empty shell.
Right.
That's a question.
Uh-huh.
But that's very typical.
Yeah, but the reason why the commentaries are disturbed by what's going on in this Gemara is because sometimes we ask questions about things that are relevant for when Mashiach comes, and the Gemara asks on it, Hilchasol Mashiach. You're asking about what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. Well, over there, the Moshe Rabbeinu or Eliyahu Navi is going to tell us what to do. So over here, if we're learning the halachos, so then you can learn the halachos. But then when you ask about something that we're not even learning about and what's underneath, so that it becomes like not really relevant. And if you want to find out, you wait till Mashiach comes.
Today.
But they always, in yeshivas, they would always ask questions that weren't relevant. So they would,
What do you mean
would
they
say-
would? They still do.
they
probably.
said, what's the nafkamina? It means like, what comes out from it? We translate practical this. Nafkamina, what comes out from it? Nafak means to come out. What comes out from it? So they would say, well, if you marry a woman on the condition that this is the pshat, so if you're married or not, it depends if that's the. So there's enough nafkamina. Okay. The Gemara here said that the Kayanim are above and the Leviyim are below. The Mefarish over here explains actually that there were no Leviyim below. What it means is a general statement that whenever the Leviyim were watching, they always were watching from the ground floor. And wherever the Kayanim were watching, it was always from the upper floor. But not that by the Sharanitzitz itself, there were Kayanim above and Levium below. The reason why is the Mefarish is going to learn that there were actually 21 places that the Levium were watching independently from where the Kayanim were. They were totally separate places. You're going to see soon in the Gemara that it's going to mess things up if we're going to say that the Levium were in the same place that the Kayanim were watching. It's going to make things difficult. By himself, very good.
So they are in the
Very good. Very good. And Moshe was the Levi. That was yesterday's Gemara.
Who wrote the Mefarish?
A student of Rashi. It's over here we had. He quotes Rabbi Yaakov Bar Shimon. He's quoting Rishonim. He's quoting Rishonim. Okay. Mina Hanimili. From where do we know this from? And there's different ways of learning what the Gemara's question is. You throw all the questions in together, you can get, how do we know that the Kayanim are watching above and the Levium are watching below? Okay. Like everything that we just said. So it says the Tana Rabbanan. It was taught in the Brisa. It says that the Levium will help you in your service, and they will serve you in your service, in your work. Now this is after Kairach contests Aaron's kahuna. So after that, Perek Yud Ches in Bamidbar goes through all the gifts of the Kayanim and the work of the Kayanim and what the Levium have to do. At the end of Parshas Kairach, it goes through that. So over there it says that the Levium will assist you in your work. And it says, it's talking about your work, which means the Levium will assist the Kayanim. You say it's in your work. Maybe it's in their work. What does it mean, Bavaydasam? Could be it's talking about the carrying of the Mishkan and all of that, or maybe it's referring to the singing that the Levium need to do when the Karbanos are being brought. But how do we know that the Kayanim are going to have an important position in the guarding of the Beis HaMikdash and the Levium have the secondary position? Where do we see that? So it says, because right after that there's another pasuk that says that they will assist you and they will guard all the vessels for all of their work, which is talking about the carrying of the Mishkan and the transporting it. So when it comes to the regular services that the Levium will assist you, that we have from the pasuk of V'nilvo Elecha. When it comes to, what about V'yulavo Elecha? Hamani Mekayim V'yulavo Elecha V'shasucha. It's one pasuk after another. It says the same thing. V'yulavo Elecha. They'll accompany you in your work. So, Ba'vidascha Kasam Medaber. It's referring to the work of the Kayanim are going to guard on the top and the Levium will guard on the bottom. HaKetzad. How does this work out? Not according to the Mefarish. Ketzad, how does this work? Kainim Shem Milmaila, Levium Milmata. Okay, that's supposed to be the end of the sugya here. The Levium are on the bottom, the Kainim are on the top. Okay. Let's go further. We have some things to discuss, but let's hold it till we finish the next Gemara. Beis HaMikdash Kippah. So the Beis HaMikdash was a kippah. Now we said there's a machlekes rishonim if it means that it's built on a kippah or if it had that dome that was on the top. Ubayas Gadol Haya. There was a large room. Chad Shomer Hu Dahav Beis HaMikdash. Was there only one guard in the Beis HaMikdash?
Don't say it was not for guarding, it was just for respect.
It was just for respect. So, the problem is we're going to quote a brisa that says that there were two gates. And we're thinking that if there's two gates, there should be a guard by each one. That's what's going to happen here. For a minute, I'll posit a contradiction. There were two gates to the Beis HaMikdash. Echad Pesuach L'chel. One was open. That's the Beis HaMikdash there. One was open to the Chel. Here you see the word Chel. V'echad pesuach la'azara, and one was open to the azara in your picture. Here, in this design, you actually see the doorways.
So it's a
One is open,
a front door and a
a
back
front door and a
door.
back door, and it would go straight through. They made it look like there's ventilation, across. So Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda says on this, that this one that would go into the azara, pish katan hayalai. It had a small doorway. Sometimes garage doors have a small door. Very large doors, so you don't have to open the whole door.
Fire marshal would never accept this.
In the door?
Having a room with thousands of people and a small door, forget that.
No,
Would never go.
there's a
You
very
still have a
large
big
door,
one. You
but
still
they
have
also
a big
have an
one.
escape, quick door that you can open, so you don't have to open the big door just to
Very
get
hard
out.
understand this.
Today, the fire department makes them bigger, yes.
It's very
Well,
hard
you
to
have to
understand.
have
This room
multiple
was on
exits.
top of a yarmulke. Like, how is this room built? Balancing on top
Oh,
of a
no,
ramp.
that's not a big deal. You're on a mountain.
So,
There's mountains have like caves and caverns, and
the mountain was flattened. We know that. That's the whole piece.
this was an area that had an elevated spot,
No, but it's not
That would be considered. That would be considered a second floor.
right?
And they made a
No,
hall.
that would
of
not
it.
be considered a second
Well,
floor.
it
No,
depends
so
what
then
was
the
underneath
floor,
it.
the floor was elevated.
It depends what was underneath it. It was just a rock underneath it that was elevated.
Listen, I'll give you construction lesson later.
That would be considered a second floor.
Yeah.
It would be, if it's raised, what we're discussing here, according to the way the Mefarish wants to learn, is that it's raised above the level of the Azara
So
floor.
when they walked in from the outside,
They had to step down probably, yeah.
There was steps. Where's the steps? Doesn't make any mention of steps in these pictures and anything.
Yeah, wasn't that the McClakis yesterday?
You're
Whether it was the
asking me
level
from
of
a
the second
picture.
floor or whether it was actually the second floor.
Right. I'm saying it doesn't make any sense to understand it was a level of the second floor.
Okay,
Because if it does, then we're missing a
Wasn't the
lot
whole
of details.
business on
it's not a problem,
elevated place?
because there's Rishonim that go like you, you're fine, you're in good,
Okay,
you're
okay.
safe.
You have to remember all these pictures.
So Pish
too
got,
were
yeah,
later on.
right,
So
Don't-
nobody really knows 100% for sure. They're postulating on from written words.
But if you go to Mechilot HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, you can see a lot of items that happen over there.
Yeah,
And they have a lot of
definitely. But all these pictures are based on a lot of that. I'm sure
But
it
there
comes
wasn't
close,
business
but
that's
again,
elevated.
But you know from inside, he's a Kohen.
Like
that
you
was-
said,
but that's the
Inside.
holy part.
Inside trading,
that's true. He has that in her
Yes.
in her Kohanic sense.
Oh, that could be,
saying that's
that
all
could
it
be, right. Okay, so there was a small door, that's called Pish Katan, Shabai Nechnasim Livlei Shazara, that they would come in to check the Azara. Now, the commentaries also say that why do they have the small door? Because the large door would make a lot of noise when it would open, and it was possible for the guards to fall asleep, and they would say, "Oh, it's not a problem, because if the inspector is going to come and see me sleeping, I'll wake up from when he
Then
opens
open
the door.
doors.
When he opens the door, it's going to make so much noise." But there was another door there that didn't make any noise. It was a little door, so they always had to be on guard.
was it a little door within the large door
Yeah.
or two separate?
It sounds like it's in the large door.
Like in Europe, they have those giant doors, and then there's a little
Right.
door to go through.
You say
Some
there's
door
a
had
big
a
door,
house.
but there's another door inside the door.
No, that's
Amar
little door
Abaya.
within the door.
So what's our problem over here? Let's go back to the question. Problem is we said that the Beis Hamikdash has one shomer. 1 second, it has two doors. You should have two shomerim. One on the inside, one on the outside. Amar Abaya says, Kivan the Gabi Adade Abikaimi, since they were directly opposited. So Sagi Lu Bechad Shomer. It's enough to have one guard. Davi Lahacha v'Davi Lahacha. He looks this way and he looks that way.
Why don't you just?
What does the word Davi
So what
mean?
happens if two people
Davi
come
means to turn
from
or
both
to look.
sides? What is he supposed to do?
So I thought it doesn't say.
No, then all you need to say is that he's not going for art.
Why don't you just say he's?
No one's gonna stand
Aren't you
there.
guarding
Davi
people
is
from
Raya,
coming
Chazia.
from outside coming in? You're not worried about the inside going out.
Right.
In which the main reason for guarding is that intruders shouldn't come in. You're not worried about someone
If
using
an
an
intruder
exit
gets in,
door.
Right.
So you
So why do you
don't
need
really
one on the
to.
inside? We'll see. It's not so simple. It's not so
that's just
simple.
respectful.
It's
my
not for
garden.
intruders anyway. So
Maybe somebody wanted a piece of meat.
take a piece of meat
I want
out.
to take these
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
Making sure no one
Maybe,
leaves with
maybe
the
they're
meat.
stealing, maybe they're
That's a good
stealing your
point.
golden goblet. You know.
Oh,
No,
which then
they
goes
scrape
to
the
the
walls.
Gemara we just finished.
Right.
You know that?
Okay, the next Gemara goes like
Yeah,
this.
give him a God.
Mukaf Ravdim Shaleven. We said that the base of Maikid, in this room, it was surrounded by slabs of stone. This room here, this base of Maikid, here you're not able to fit it in. But apparently there were stones that would be on this side, on the floor, that were piled up.
Did he get it?
Yeah, I don't know. It must have been on the side of the door. But what's the idea was that on these stones, we said that the older Kayanim would sleep. Raivdim Mainiyu. What are these Raivdim? It says, Gezarta de Stavta. These are cut stones. The Salki Buhu. Salki means to go up. Le Stavta. To the upper stones. It's a platform. They're like platforms that you can go up from one to the next in the way of steps. The Gemara says, 1 second. Umihavi mifalgi avonim. Were they allowed to cut stones? Well, this is a big confusion because we know for the Mizbeach they weren't allowed to cut stones. Lesanafalei and Barzel. Now we're hearing that you can't have any cut stones in the temple at all, and it brings a pasuk. Vaksiv va'abayas bi banaisa yevin shleima. When Shlomo Melech built the base of Mikdash, you could not hear the cutting of stones. It was quiet.
Didn't they use shimmer?
Sorry?
I'm saying, but this diagram shows it's outside.
The altar,
This picture.
That's a good point.
the altar
That's a
I
good
know
point.
could not have been made from cut stone. But what about the walls and so on?
It must be.
Or that went
You
to
see
the
how
whole
it
temple?
specifically shows.
That's what
the
we're learning
levels.
here. That's what
Our
we're learning here.
temple,
The
no?
commentaries say that
That's
there's
where
two.
the
That
stones
it's,
were.
there's a
Where these
machlokes over
ledges
here.
were.
If it's the
Oh.
same
Showing ledges
of the
that's
mizbeach of the
outside.
mizbeach. See, the mizbeach needed to be so perfect
Good pickup.
that it would catch your nail, on a nick. This doesn't necessarily have the same halacha. It's
What
machlokes.
was
It's
the
weird.
worm that they used?
Ah, very good.
Because that means
Shamir.
that obviously it's a cut. The shamir worm. They had
So
to
that's
obviously
Taisus'
cut.
question in Saita. Taisus asks, why are we making a big deal about these issues? They had the shamir. During the second base of English, they could cut it.
On the
Apparently,
second base of English?
and even
the
in the
first?
second, it says even in the second. The fact that Taisus asked that. Okay, so Amar Abaya answers, the Mesakni Umaisimi Karavni Zuchusivavni Ravrsa. They would prepare it outside. You see, the pasuk that we quoted was that when the Beis Hamikdash was being built, it was built in silence.
כתוב לא ישמר לך כל ברזל.
That's right.
משהו כזה, זה
Right,
לא remember.
that's the pasuk.
Now you could
Abayas pi b'naisei Evan Shleima. I don't have the full pasuk here. Let me
No
use
habla,
it.
no habla
Tishmu
español.
kulam.
No, yes.
Where's the psukim?
That's when we have a
Yeah,
rabbi.
Abayas pi
They
Evan
speak
Shleima,
English.
Masa Nivno, Makavas Vagars, and Kokli Barza Nishma b'Abayas pi b'naisei. Very good. So it was done quietly. So how did they do that? The answer is because they fixed the stones outside, large stones and small stones. Kediksiv, as it says in the pasuk, Avnei Yasser Amis v'Avnei Shmein Amis, that they had stones that were 10 amis, stones that were 8 amis. Okay.
Dobrut.
Which means that outside the Azara you were allowed to use stones on it. What are you going to use for a Gemara?
Yeah, Gabriel.
When is this?
No, Gabriel, simply no way.
Okay. Ziknei Beis Av Yeshenim Shram. He said that the elders of the Kayanim. What's the Beis Av? The Beis Av come up. The Beis Av was the Kayanim that were serving that day, because we divided the Kayanim up into 24 groups, and then the 24 groups were divided into either 6 or 7 to work for the 6 days of the week or 7 days of the week. That's a discussion. So the Beis Av would sleep there; they should be ready in the morning. The Gemara says, 1 second, let them bring in beds. Amar Abaya seems to be a big player in this Gemara. It's the second time. He says, it's not derech eretz. Eirach ara is an Aramaic for derech eretz. Eirach is a way, and ara is It's not Derech Eretz.
There was a third Abaye. I'm counting.
Oh, they, really?
Abaye came in the Gabi, and then
Yeah.
in the middle there was a number.
Really?
Abaye, the Misnake, Umaise, and then this one.
Oh, you're right. Very good.
I'm just listening.
Very good. It's not the way to do this. Okay. Pirchi Kuna. If you look back at the Mishnah, we said two terms for children. We said that the elder Kayanim would sleep on these stones. But the
It could have cut stones.
stones out right.
It could have just been. It was very simple.
We said that who would guard in these areas in the base of Tinas and base of Nitzit. They were Aliyas. It says Haroivim Shemrim Sham. We said Roivim is like the word Kruvim, which means the Gemara tells us that Kruvim means children. They were the children. The Mafar said that they were under 13, and they were doing the Shmira.
But צירי, I heard one time, פרחי הכהונה היו צעירים ברוח, לא בגיל. Their spirit was young, not in this. I don't remember
Oh,
what
I
I
like
said.
that. I like that.
Because
Young at
so
heart.
it's not
Young
coveted.
at heart.
Now it
Those
says,
youngsters.
It's not coveted for an 8-year-old to watch.
let's see, we'll discuss in a
I don't
moment.
think
You
an
have a good
8-year-old
point.
is able to do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
I don't think an 8-year-old is able to do it.
Let's
you
see.
have to go through the camp and stuff.
Let's see, we'll see in a moment. Now we have that the elders were sleeping on the stones, and it says Pirchei Kuna, they were sleeping on the ground with their mat. The Gemara asks, Amai Hasam Karlu Roivim, Bahacha Karlu Pirchei Kuna, we're on top of Chav Zayin. Why in one place the young Kayanim are called Roivim? Another place they're called Pirchei Kuna? Listen to this. The Gemara answers, Amri, in. Correct. Hasam Tleimatala Me'avar Avaida. If they're not eligible to do the Avaida, Karlu Roivim. Where is this? This is when they're guarding. They're acting as guards. They're on the aliyas. They're on the upper floor at the base of Tinas and the base of Nitzitz. Hacha the matalim avar avaida. But here, when they're able to do the avaida, karlu pirchei. Over here, they're called pirchei kuna, the young kainim. Pirchei must mean that their beards are sprouting. That's what perach. That's it means to sprout. They're
That
young.
goes against your
Okay.
Aaron.
There's different commentaries.
For
I know,
like a
but
teenager to do one.
It's still good. It's still good. I like it. It's still good. Good for nothing, but it's good.
we appreciate creativity. Now, the Rabbeinu Gershon says the Rabbeinu Gershon gives another pshat. He says that it has to, that eligibility of doing avodah doesn't have to do with their age. It has to do with the time. They were guarding at night. See, we said that when we started this Masechta, we said that they would guard by day and by night. It's not 100% clear that that's the fact. Could be they were only guarding by day by night, because by day they had to do the other avodah. There was work in the Beis Hamikdash. They were guarding by night. If they had to be doing work by day, so then by night someone would have to be sleeping, right? So they would have to sleep. So who would be guarding by night if the people that had to be doing the work by day? So it would be the kids that didn't have to do the work by day. So they would be guarding by night. So Hasam, delay matlam ever avoda, when they're not going to be doing the work by day. Why? Because they're younger kayanim. They don't do the work by day. So then that's by night they're called Raivim, and by day they're called Pirchei Kuna. I don't know if that's exactly
So-
going to work.
Can I give a side point? I think I said once before. You got a minute for it? So my son, who Benny, who I put through in Israel years ago, he wanted to be a boat pilot. What do you call it?
Captain?
boat
Captain,
captain.
captain.
All right, so he got this international captain's license. Came to America and found out. Guess what? They don't hire a 22-year-old to run a $36 million private yacht. So he ended up getting a job on the yacht. This is because the same thing. And there's like 7 people on the yacht, or 8 people. There's the captain, and then there's the cook, the mechanic, the steward. You know, all the other people. Every one of those other people had to have an international captain's license. Why? Because the captain, who captained the boat during the day, slept at night, and they would rotate, and they would run the ship
I had no idea
at
where that was
night.
going. I was so
At
nervous
night.
when you
No,
brought it up.
so it's the same thing here.
Right.
The captain, who was like the elder,
Right.
he would sleep at night, and then they would just monitor the boat. And
Doctor,
Right.
you today, you're
How old?
shiny.
How old are we dealing with, Chaim and Yossi? How old are we dealing with when you say that they're too young to do the Avodah?
What he says about
Less
young,
than?
13,
Less than 13? The other option is less than?
less than,
Less than 20.
yeah, less
Yeah,
before
Shulchan
the
Aruch.
Less than
Sometime
20.
the other day we
Counting.
learned that it's not appropriate for a kain to go up to ducha by himself. He's the only kain unless
It's
he has
just
a
a-
beard.
Uh-huh.
And
If it's
the
a child.
alternatively, once he turns 20, he can go up with or without a beard.
Uh-huh. Now,
that's good.
Well, you're not supposed to be looking.
Give it out.
This was a conversation we had.
That's
Everything
right.
in the
You can't
Torah
see anyways,
basically
who
is the
cares?
age of 20, isn't it?
This is the most
Yes.
exciting daf.
so
So-
what's happening here is that
Amazing.
the commentary, the Mefarish said that it's
20,
that it has to do with 13. The Mefarshim asked, 1 second. You tell us you can't do the Avodah. And then you say, but you can go do the Shmira. The Shmira was also a deraisa. We learned it from Sukkim that you have to watch. And then you're saying a kid